Now at 11, a sign of the times, a provocative message posted in an apartment window causing controversy tonight in a New York City neighborhood.
And still on the Hill, the latest effort to remove George Santos from Congress goes down in defeat. Good evening, everyone. I'm David Ushery.
I'm Natalie Pasquarela. Before we get to those stories, we have to warn you tonight is going to be the coldest night we've seen in a really long time. Let's get right over to Storm Team 4 meteorologist Janice Huff.
Natalie, it certainly has been for New York City and Central Park. April 8th was the last time the temperature dropped below 40 degrees, and we're expecting 36, 37 in the city tonight. March 30th was the last time it was below freezing, and November 13th is the average first freeze. But a lot of areas are well below that now. Claryville's at 28, 31 in Woodridge, 37 in Newburgh. Tonight, you'll drop down to 30 degrees. All these areas north of 287 through the Hudson Valley, Catskills, Poconos will have the coldest temperatures. Across Long Island, even near freezing in Riverhead, near freezing in Fairfield, 30 in Newburgh, 32 in Clifton, Parsippany, your low of 28 tonight. Down the Jersey Shore, 32 for you in Seaside Park and Asbury Park at 33, 30 degrees in Old Bridge in the morning, and 35 degrees in New York City. Yes, it'll be the coldest air so far this season, and the frost and freeze warnings, the freeze warnings are in effect for much of New Jersey, coastal Connecticut, most of Long Island, and parts of the lower Hudson Valley too. Now, the trend though is for temperatures to start to warm up. After tomorrow's high of 50, we'll be back up near average on Friday to 57 and then 61 on Saturday. I've got the rest of your weekend forecast coming up in a few minutes. Back to you.
Janice, thanks. We'll see you soon. New at 11 tonight, Long Island Congressman George Santos survived an expulsion vote this evening. 179 of his colleagues voted to kick him out of Congress because of all the criminal and ethical accusations that he faces. But 213 voted against expelling him. News 4's Ida Siegel watched it all go down tonight. She has the latest. Ida.
Yeah, Natalie, the vote to kick Santos out was spearheaded by a group of Congress members from his own party, specifically a contingent of New York Republicans who called Santos an embarrassment. But in the end, they didn't have the votes.
2/3 not voting in the affirmative. The resolution is not adopted.
That resolution would have expelled embattled Congressman George Santos from Congress, but it did not pass. Santos gets to keep his seat for now.
This is a victory for the process. Due process won today, not George Santos.
Outside the Capitol building tonight, Santos ripping the New York Republicans who tried to take him down.
My colleagues in New York did this because it is political expedient for them. They have an election coming up.
Tonight, Representative Nick LaLota from Suffolk County said while Mr. Santos remains a House member for at least the next few weeks, his future is not in the House, it's in a federal penitentiary. In a few weeks, the House can take another vote on expulsion after the Ethics Committee releases their findings. I expect many more of my colleagues to vote yes then. Santos has admitted he was caught in a web of lies, including claims that he graduated from Baruch College and NYU, worked for Goldman Sachs and Citigroup, and had Jewish ancestry. All of them, he confirmed, were false. But then federal prosecutors made more serious allegations of wire fraud, theft of public money, and making false statements. Federal attorneys later charged Santos with identity theft, saying he used the credit cards of donors to make purchases without their permission.
You expel a member for their conduct. The conduct of Mr. Santos has been embarrassing and unbecoming and unfit for public office.
I will continue to fight to defend myself. I will continue to serve the 3rd Congressional District of New York until the people choose to not have me.
Next on the agenda for Santos is the House Ethics Committee. It will announce its findings on November 17th. Again, after that happens, the New York contingent of Republican Congress members plans to call for another vote on expulsion. Reporting live from the newsroom, Ida Siegel, News 4, New York.
Ida, thank you. The first of 2 days of testimony from Donald Trump's adult sons got underway today in the civil fraud trial against the former president's family and their company. Donald Trump Jr. faced questions about his role at the Trump Organization and his involvement in financial statements the Attorney General alleges were grossly inflated. His brother Eric Trump could take the stand as soon as tomorrow, and sister Ivanka is expected to testify next week. The former president is accused of misrepresenting his net worth by billions. All of the family members have denied any wrongdoing. Tonight, a Cornell University student accused of making violent threats against Jews is being held without bail. Patrick Dye made his first court appearance today in Syracuse. He's charged with threatening to, quote, shoot up Cornell's kosher dining hall with an assault rifle. That building sits next to Cornell's Center for Jewish Living. The prosecutor says Dye also admitted to calling for Jews to be murdered, raped, and beheaded. Investigators tell us they traced the threatening messages to his computer's IP address.
In response to the spike in hate crimes linked to the Israel-Hamas war, President Biden says his administration will develop the first ever national strategy to combat Islamophobia in the U.S. The president referring to the recent killing of a 6-year-old Palestinian-American Muslim boy and the brutal attack on his mother in their home outside of Chicago. Mr. Biden says they'll work with community leaders, advocates, members of Congress, and more to develop this strategy with the goal to eliminate Islamophobia and hate in all its forms. On the Upper East Side, a sign in a window that you see right there is causing a war-related controversy. And some neighbors of the person who put it there want her to take it down now. Here's News 4's Chris Jose.
We have to get the better of ourselves into it than the worst of humanity.
On the corner of 78th Street and 2nd Avenue, a sign from a second-floor apartment reads, "Flat Gaza, kill them all." The message causing quite the stir on the Upper East Side.
I found it unsettling. I think that messages of hatred like this have no place in a decent society.
Some neighbors are so upset they notified the New York State Department of Hate and Bias Prevention. Tonight, the agency confirming it's aware of the incident and encouraging those with additional concerns to report them. The woman who lives in the apartment telling me why she won't be taking the sign down.
5 of my family died. And not only died, they've been tortured to death.
Sharon Amron emotional about losing loved ones in the terrorist attack committed by Hamas on October 7th. The pain leaving her angry and frustrated.
ISIS, it's nothing to compare to the Hamas. The Hamas is the worst thing that ever happened on this planet, and we need to finish them now.
The sign, according to Amron, is her way of supporting Israel, while also delivering a strong stance on a war that deeply affects her.
They're terrorism. They're ISIS, they're dangerous.
Some neighbors think there's a better way to express her views.
This is a time for us to come together, maybe have difficult conversations, but respectfully.
The tenant believes she's not doing anything illegal. In fact, she intends to put up more signs. Some neighbors now hoping to get state and local leaders involved to remove it. On the Upper East Side, Chris Jose, News 4 New York.
New tonight, Chopper 4 flew over a candlelight vigil at Columbus Circle. A group called Pro-Israeli Democracy organized the rally to call attention to the plight of the Israeli hostages who are still being held by Hamas. As News 4's Jay Gray reports, there are signs that the humanitarian crisis in Gaza might be easing, but only just a little.
Good evening. And for the first time today since the war began, we are seeing people leave Gaza through the Rafah border crossing with Egypt. And this comes after weeks of negotiations with Qatar acting as the middleman, talking with Israel, with Egypt, and with Hamas. Finally, an agreement. They've allowed 70 to 80 ambulances to move into Gaza and remove some of the most critically injured Palestinians. They're taking them to a field hospital just across the border, and there they will have desperately needed surgeries. And then you're seeing foreign nationals push through these gates, including today a handful of Americans.
We'll see more of this process going on in the coming days. Working nonstop to get Americans out of Gaza as soon and as safely as possible.
We know that hundreds of families have been camping out along the border. They're hoping to walk to freedom. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on the ground. Ground forces expanding and advancing. The IDF saying that it's hit 300 targets over the last 24 hours and has taken out one of those Hamas leaders who helped to plan the October 7th attacks. They've acknowledged striking one of the largest refugee camps in Gaza, and dozens were killed there. And we know there's been a second strike in that same area where at least 20 structures, most of them civilian housing structures, have been hit as well. We've also learned from the IDF that they've seen their first casualties on the ground in Gaza, at least 11 soldiers killed between the ages of 19 and 24. That's the latest from here in Tel Aviv. I'm Jay Gray, NBC News.
At a campaign event in Minnesota tonight, President Biden said he thinks there needs to be a humanitarian pause to help the civilians in Gaza, but he rejected calls for a ceasefire.
State police have identified the human remains found Monday inside a park on Long Island. They're calling the case a homicide. Police say the victim is 20-year-old Natalie Ramos Moreno, who last lived in Brentwood. His remains were found on a trail at Sunken Meadow State Park in Suffolk County, and so far, no word on how he died. Happening tomorrow, a trip that New York City Mayor Eric Adams first revealed tonight during his appearance on News 4 at 6 with us. The mayor told us he's heading to the nation's capital looking for support as he tries to deal with the city's migrant crisis. He's also hoping to answer critics of the city's plan to house hundreds of migrant families in a massive tent city at Brooklyn's Floyd Bennett Field, because many are worried it might not be safe.
I'm hoping that they would join me and other mayors that are going to Washington, D.C. tomorrow to meet with our federal lawmakers as well as the White House, because this is not sustainable.
Now, the Legal Aid Society and Coalition for the Homeless said that Floyd Bennett Field has poor sanitation, a lack of storage space, and that children could get lost in the facility. The FDN also questioned the water supply there in case of a fire. Now, in his News 4 interview, the mayor himself acknowledged that the site is not a permanent solution.
Still ahead tonight at 11 on News 4 New York, a special delivery by some police officers who had to become midwives.
The reunion tonight between the parents and the officers who delivered their baby in their living room.
Then highway fireworks, why some spectators got an unexpected blast a few days before Halloween.
And Snoopy's back. We'll get a sneak peek at some of the new balloons you'll see at this year's edition of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. We've got some new body cam video tonight out of Nevada showing a tense standoff between police and the suspect in a multi-state kidnapping. The video from July has been heavily redacted. Officers located the kidnapping and rape suspect from Oregon in a Walmart parking lot in Reno. Nagasi Zuberi was arrested after a woman escaped a makeshift cinder block cell where investigators say he sexually assaulted her and held her hostage. The FBI is hoping to identify more potential victims from states where the suspect lived over the last decade, and that includes New York and New Jersey.
New at 11 tonight, the NYPD says this subway rider attacked a pregnant woman this morning in Jackson Heights, Queens. The suspect bumped into the victim as they rode on the southbound 7 train. According to police, they argued until getting off at 74th Street. That's where authorities said the suspect hit the pregnant victim over and over with her cell phone, then kicked her in the stomach before running off. The 25-year-old victim is expected to be okay, but if you can help police find the woman you see in the photo, please call Crime Stoppers. Well, a New Jersey couple has a healthy baby tonight thanks to a team of police officers who made a house call when the little girl decided she couldn't wait for a doctor. News 4's Checky Beckford has the story from Bergenfield.
Oh, that's the officers. Oh, was that them? Oh, my gosh.
A surprise visit by police.
Hello. It's good to see you. How are you? How you feeling? You feeling right?
Met with hugs and gratitude.
We were just telling them how truly helpful you were.
You see, these officers have been here before.
Cop came swerving up to the house.
The emergency that brought police to the Spriggs Bergenfield home, the impending birth of little Mila.
Contractions had just gone from maybe 20, 30 to 100.
And I just glanced down there and I saw something. And I know I'm not a medical expert, so that's why I said we have to call 911.
Several officers, including Shimashkovich and Enriquez, arrived.
And I realized, her water broke and starting to open up a little bit.
But officers soon realized they couldn't move Charisse, that they'd have to deliver her baby right here in her living room.
He said it's happening here. He said go get pillows and blankets.
It was a quick delivery ward.
And I was supporting her weight, and while my partners, Officer Enriquez and Lopez, were just standing there prepping.
But Charisse was in so much pain she couldn't get on the floor.
I said, I can't even bend my knees. I'm just going to start pushing, and whatever comes out, you catch.
And that's what they did.
1 minute it's not there, the next second it is.
And baby Mila was born.
It's a wild experience for sure.
An experience the parents say they couldn't have gotten through without the help of these officers.
You guys were kind to her, and just the kind language you had towards her just really made me feel comfortable and grateful.
A special delivery no one here
will soon forget.
For us, a memory that we're going to carry for the rest of our lives, that's for sure.
In Bergenfield, Jackie Beckford, News 4, New York.
All right, nice job.
Awesome.
All's well that
Kudos
ends
to
well.
them.
All right.
Love it.
Janice is here now. A number of people today, including our friend over here, said, I can go out without a coat.
That was, listen,
She always goes out without a coat in the middle of the winter.
They
Not
called
so
me and
much.
said, didn't you listen to Janice?
Yeah.
Which I will
Apparently
now.
not, but that's okay. We're still friends, Nat. It's all good. All right, so hopefully you'll listen to us tonight and in the morning, too, because the chill is coming tonight around the tri-state, the coldest air of the season so far. Well, you'll need to bundle up and get the warm coats out for tonight, maybe tomorrow night, too. Put away the umbrella for a bit. We won't need that till next week. And grab your shades, your sunglasses, because it is going to be bright and sunny and dry for several days. The rain chances really don't bump up until we get to Tuesday, Wednesday. You might see these numbers Sunday, Monday tick up to 10%. That's mainly just due to cloud cover. We're not expecting any measurable rain until next week. And for once on a weekend, we don't have to worry about it. Temperatures up around 60 by Saturday and Sunday should be spectacular finally. It's 40 degrees right now in the city. Not too bad out there, but a little breeze will kick up the wind chill just a little bit. Temperatures right now are down in the 30s already, north and west of the city from Bridgeport over to Clinton, as well as Allentown. Some 20s showing up around Binghamton right now and Fort Drum. And that cold air settles southward tonight. So north and west of the city, that's where you're going to see the coldest temperatures. But even down the Jersey Shore, you're under that freeze warning tonight. Tomorrow morning, 36, feels like 31. In the city, 27 feels like 27 in Poughkeepsie. The winds aren't too strong during the day tomorrow, so there's only the slightest bit of wind chill. You'll be able to detect that very little. All right, so for Friday, though, things bump up pretty well. 57 for the high on Friday. 61 Saturday and Sunday with dry skies. And it really looks that way across most of the Northeast until you get up towards the Canadian border. There's a few showers. But from Boston clear down to D.C., the weather looks fantastic. In terms of leaf peeping this weekend, well, there's not much left up over the Adirondacks and in parts of northern New England, but we've got some pretty decent color around here, especially in the city and near the shore. 35 degrees for the low tonight in the city. Hasn't been this cold in a while. And north and west, you're below freezing. Tomorrow we start out cold. We end up cool, below average, but sunny with a temperature of 50. And Friday's high 57. It's another chilly morning, but we have a southwest wind that kicks in that will take those temperatures up and up and up for the weekend. So 60s or low 60s on Saturday and Sunday. We fall back an hour Sunday morning. And of course, the marathon run is on Sunday, so should be great weather for spectators and runners. And then the clouds start to roll in Monday and the showers roll in Tuesday and Wednesday. Guys, back to you.
Well, it is, Janice, November 1st, and with Halloween over, we're looking ahead to Thanksgiving already in the iconic Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Here's a first look at this year's character balloons. Snoopy returns, of course, with a twist. This year, the Peanut Star officially debuts as Beagle Scout Snoopy. Blue Cat and Chugs the Milk Carton are also hitting the streets, along with Kung Fu Panda's Po and Leo the Lizard from the upcoming Adam Sandler film. There's also Monkey D. Luffy, the Pillsbury Doughboy, and Uncle Dan, the duck from the new movie Migration. This year's parade set to begin at 8:30 a.m., and that is a half hour earlier than usual. Then stick around for the National Dog Show at noon. You can see it all right here on NBC4.
And while we're talking about the holidays, Vestal, New York is the home of the Christmas tree that will tower over Rockefeller Center this year. That's right outside of Binghamton. The tree is an 80-foot-tall Norway spruce, and once it gets to the plaza, it'll be wrapped in more than 50,000 multicolored LED lights and crowned with a 9-foot, 900-pound Swarovski star. We expect it to get here on November 11th. And once again this year, David and I will co-host Christmas at Rockefeller Center with Mario Lopez from Access Hollywood. That's Wednesday, November 29th. Mark your calendar, starting at 7 p.m.
All right, with that festive note, Bruce is here to tell us what's coming up.
I wait all year for that 3-shot of you guys with Mario. It's fantastic. The Knicks got a win in Cleveland last night, but could they get another at the Garden tonight? Coming up in sports, Donovan Mitchell goes off in the first half. It's a return to New York, but was it enough to propel the Cavs to victory? And Daniel Jones is back on the field, but will he be back on the beam on Sunday? We've got the latest on the health of the Giants signal caller in a moment.
And this is some new video of an hour-long impromptu fireworks display caused by a crash between a tractor trailer and a pickup truck. Yep, happened on the Trans-Canada Highway east of Vancouver. Police say the semi collided with a pickup that was towing a trailer full of, you guessed it, fireworks. The crash caused the explosives to go off, closing the highway for about an hour until they eventually stopped. One driver called the spontaneous display the best fireworks show I'll ever see. Glad everybody's okay. All right, for more than a quarter century, a Delaware couple went all out decorating for Halloween.
But Frank and Pat Mayer decided this year had to be the last, and so all the spooky stuff they've acquired is now up for a creepy, massive post-Halloween blowout sale in Wilmington. Some of the items are handmade, and for the couple, there's plenty of sentimental value. Maybe a deal to be had. Yeah. We'll be right back with Bruce Beck and news about a legendary basketball coach.
The Spectrum Sports Desk is brought to you by Spectrum One Stream. Get internet, advanced Wi-Fi, and unlimited mobile, and a free Xumo Stream box when you add Spectrum TV. Visit Spectrum.com for details.
After smoking the Cavaliers in Cleveland last night, the Knicks tried to sweep the home and home with the Cavs tonight at the Garden. Donovan Mitchell had 25 points in the first half. He missed his first 10 shots after halftime, but with the Cavs up 2 late in the fourth, Mitchell hits the wide-open triple on the next Cavs possession. Mitchell misses the three, but follows up his own miss and finishes over Mitchell Robinson. Spida had a game-high 30 in a 95-89 Cavaliers win. The Nets went for 2 straight victories tonight in Miami after trailing by 8 after 3. Brooklyn went gangbusters in the fourth. Off the Dorian Finney-Smith miss, Mikal Bridges skies for the offensive rebound and scores on the putback plus the foul. He had a team-high 21 as the Nets make it back-to-back wins, 109-105. Bob Knight, one of the greatest college basketball coaches of our generation, has died at the age of 83. He won 902 games during his 42-year career. The coaching icon started at Army in 1965 at the age of 24 and made his mark at Indiana, where he won 3 national titles. In 1984, he coached the U.S. Olympic team to a gold medal in Los Angeles. He was complicated, intimidating, and tempestuous. He once threw a chair from the bench area onto the basketball court. But as a coach, he was a genius. Knight was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 1991. Daniel Jones is back. Barring a setback, he'll be under center when the Giants visit the dysfunctional Raiders on Sunday. After missing 3 games with a neck injury, Jones was all smiles at his first practice after finally being cleared for contact. Now we'll try to jumpstart an offense that has scored the fewest points in the NFL. But he won't have the services of his top target, Darren Waller, who's likely out multiple weeks with a hamstring injury. Jones took all the first-team snaps with no limitations today and looked good in the process. How do you feel physically?
I feel good. Feel recovered and I've had a few weeks here not playing, so use that to stay in shape and but excited to be back.
Now to Game 5 of the World Series, the Rangers trying to close out the Diamondbacks in Arizona. And they did just that with a convincing 5-0 shutout victory. Just 2 seasons removed from a 100-loss season, the Rangers won 3 straight in the desert to win the Fall Classic for the first time in franchise history. The Rangers roster includes former Yankees Aroldis Chapman and Jordan Montgomery and former Mets Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom, who is currently on the injured list following Tommy John surgery. We can't wait for New York baseball in 2024. We'll be back.
All right, remember there is a freeze warning in effect for some parts of New Jersey and Long Island and coastal Connecticut tonight, where your temperatures are down in the 20s. We're in the 30s in the city, 50 tomorrow, sunshine through the weekend near 60.
Time enough to say goodbye. Okay, boom, goodbye.
Bye.